Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. I'm Peter Gross, co-host of the original Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins and Jim Fowler. When Wild Kingdom debuted in the early 1960s, handling and training animals to perform were common in many zoos. But today, animals like this capuchin monkey serve as wildlife ambassadors for their species in order to educate rather than just entertain. These ambassadors have been hurt in the wild and would not survive without human interaction. Trained professionals bottle feed them and foster the animals back to health, and the animals become imprinted on their human caregivers. Wild Kingdom showed generations of people the majesty of our animal ambassadors and helped us to care about them. When you care about something, you become committed to saving it, and that's how we all succeed in the Wild Kingdom. So we're going to sit back, relax, and enjoy Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Hello, welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. You know, one of the wildest things in all the Wild Kingdom is a volcano. Throughout the ages, fire mountains have terrorized men and animals alike and have wreaked a terrible destruction upon the homes of men and the habitats of animals. Some volcanoes erupt slowly, some violently. In a violent eruption, the volcano may literally blow its top, or it may simply empty itself of the molten magma within until the cone collapses. In either case, it leaves a crater similar to this model, more properly called a caldera. The surface of the earth is liberally dotted with the craters of extinct and dormant volcanoes. Many of these are filled with water, such as our own famous Crater Lake in the state of Oregon. But one of the largest craters on earth is filled not with water, but with animals. And because this crater serves as a natural stronghold in which a rich treasure of wildlife is being protected and preserved, I call it the Crater of Gold. It's located in Tanganyika, East Africa, and it bears the wonderful name of Ngora Ngora. Stand with me on the rim of the crater, 7,500 feet above sea level. Half a mile below is a vast amphitheater, 10 miles across and surrounded by an unbroken wall, a sheltered grassland that is a true animal paradise. Our camp on the floor of the crater is right in the midst of one of the greatest concentrations of wild animals in Africa. Our guide is Gordon Harvey, former chief warden of Ngora Ngora. The gold of the crater is all about us, living gold such as the handsome congoni and other antelopes. The lion is a hunter of antelope and a tender guardian of her young. As usual, where there are lions, we find jackals. Small predators are here too, including a group of mongoose, curious but skittish. With their flagpole tails, warthogs supply comic relief. If this face doesn't scare an enemy to death, the mighty tusks can finish the job. There is beauty above, such as the bee-eater that catches insects on the wing. And there is the wonder of watching two impalas struggle to rule the herd. Many more treasures are to be seen when we leave camp and explore this fabulous crater. Rhinos are a part of our heritage dating back to prehistoric times. Often they attack when men move close, but they're entirely unpredictable. These fellows seem curious, all right, but I don't think they're any more bothered about us than about the tick birds enjoying their usual lunch on the go. Instead of attacking, they just leave. Except for one small forest of acacia trees, Ngora Ngora is a flat grassland, ideal habitat for East Africa's famous plains animals. Zebra and wildebeest especially are here in great numbers. From time to time, some of the grazers naturally fall prey to the predators. These lions are sharing a wildebeest, while a hyena, not too patiently, waits his turn. Treasure lies all around us. On the one hand, a solitary ostrich. On the other, a crowd of wildebeest and zebra. They're all part of our heritage, the gold that's being preserved in this natural stronghold for the benefit and enjoyment of future generations. Surely the world would be a poorer place without the beautiful gazelles we call Tommies. The stiff-legged birds here are Cory bustards. The majestic hartebeest is one of the larger antelope and one of the fastest, yet is surprisingly timid and shy. Hartebeests are sociable animals, holding together in herds and even posting sentries to watch for danger. Like all the antelope tribe, they're cud chewers, and their crowning glory is their horns. Here is new gold for the crater, a baby Tommy, surely not more than a couple of hours old. Mother must be away grazing with the herd, but I'll bet she's not very far away. Well, Mr. Moak, you'll be interested to know that today we're talking about your homeland, Africa. Well, that pleases you, doesn't it? But of course, chimpanzees are native to the equatorial forests of Central and West Africa, and we're concentrating on East Africa today. Oh, so you don't want to hear any more about it? Well, I guess we'll just have to ignore our little jealous friend here and get on with our story. Our camp on the floor of Ngora Ngora was not only a center for study of life within the crater, but also for some fascinating side trips beyond the rim. All the gold is not contained within the crater's wall. Just outside of camp, we came upon a herd of eland, the giant among antelopes. They didn't run, but they were careful to keep far enough away that they could escape if they sensed danger. Once outside Ngora Ngora, our first stop was Old Divide Gorge. Here a fascinating story is unfolding, for Dr. Leakey and the other anthropologists have already discovered Stone Age tools dating back over 2 million years, which makes this the oldest known Stone Age culture in the world. They've also found fossil remains of giant extinct baboons, horned sheep, elephant, and rhinoceros. So far, they've identified more than 150 different species, so we know there's always been a wealth of animals in this area. Out on the open plain, we find giraffe, their long necks stretched out as they feast off the tops of acacia trees. the ever-present tick birds are hard at work. A herd generally consists of a single bull, his harem, and the new generation. Ostriches seem forever on the go, and when necessary, they can go fast. In fact, since they're earthbound, the species owes its survival to this ability to outrun almost any predator. This is a region of many volcanic peaks and craters. One that I found especially appealing is Ngora crater. Here again, a climb to the rim affords a breathtaking view. Because it's only 1.5 miles across, Ngora is known as a little gem of a crater. In this area, I sighted some of the more elusive antelopes. The oryx is famous for his long, straight horns. They're his weapons, and so effective that even the mighty lion generally leaves him alone. The greater kudu is generally found in the bush, if you find him at all. The dik-dik is another bush dweller, an antelope no bigger than a rabbit. The gerenuk is the giraffe of the antelope tribe, so called because of its unusually long legs and neck that enable it to reach the leaves on which it prefers to dine. The last stop on our trip was Lake Manyara National Park. Here we were fortunate in being joined by John Hunter, a prominent naturalist and an honorary warden of the park. Lake Manyara is noted for several things, including elephants. This is a family group of elephants, and they're very protective of their young. This mother means business. So we left. Lions are not generally addicted to living in trees, but from time to time this area is infested with terrible flies. Lions have taken to trees in order to escape, and apparently this one now likes it up there. The baobab tree supplies fiber from which natives make rope. Another thing Lake Manyara is noted for is flamingos. The flamingos are wading birds spending most of their time in shallow water, in flocks up to 10,000. Another lovely wading bird is the yellow-billed stork. In the beauty parade of African birds, honors must be shared with the crowned crane. Luckily, this was the season for courtship, so we retreated to the site of the crane's famous and somewhat comical courtship dance. Leaving the lake, we started across the plain, but we quickly stopped again at the sight of a reedbuck. Then I spotted a cheetah, and I knew there was going to be action. outmaneuvered by the reed buck, the cheetah turned to discover a rather unlikely target, a baboon. Charlie, my friend, it's time you help me tell this story. But knowing you, I'm not sure help is the right word. One thing that makes Ngora Ngora truly a crater of gold is that it's the scene of a pioneer venture in multiple land usage. Under the direction of Dr. H.A. Fosbrook, the government of Tanganyika is pursuing a policy of developing the area in such a way as to conserve its natural beauties and scientific values, while providing a suitable habitat for both its animal and human residents. To see how this is being done, let's look first at the dominant animal resident, the lion. Simba has a majestic appearance and the proud bearing that long ago earned him the title Lord of the Jungle. He's rarely found in the jungle, though. He prefers grassy plains and open bush country. Of all the big cats, lions are the most gentle and the most sociable. They live together in family groups or prides, and the males actually help in raising the cubs. Zebras seem to be their favorite food, and they all share in the kill. But even though it's the females that bring down the game, protocol demands that they wait until the males have eaten their fill. An even longer wait is in store for the hyenas and vultures, who will clean up the remains. This is the natural order of things. There is a pattern here, a chain of relationships that involves the killers and the killed, as well as the other creatures that subsist on what the killers leave. Such patterns of interrelationship run all through the wild kingdom. And it is by destroying these patterns, as well as by killing off individual species, that man works his awful destruction. The great Ngora Ngora crater is today set aside as a conservation unit, wherein every effort is being made to preserve not only the animals, but also their natural patterns of relationship to other animals and to the land. At one of the water holes in the crater, Gordon Harvey and I met two handsome young men of the Maasai tribe. Here is another side of the question of land utilization, for this is their home. The Maasai are nomadic herdsmen. Ngora Ngora has been a traditional grazing ground and watering place for their cattle for countless generations. They've found the land good, and understandably they're opposed to any suggestion that they clear out and leave the place to the wild animals. The answer is being sought in a program of cooperation with the Maasai, a program to control the numbers of their cattle and the areas in which they graze. At the same time, of course, some control must be exercised over the wild animal population to preserve a balance so that the predators will not be forced to attack the cattle instead of their natural prey. To conserve and control wild animals, we need to know much more about them. One of the men conducting the needed studies was Richard Estes of Cornell University. He was using the capture gun, firing a projectile containing succinylcholine to immobilize the animal he wanted to handle. He was working under a grant from the National Geographic Society, making a study in depth of the herd movements and social habits of the wildebeest in Ngora Ngora crater. That was a good hit. While the wildebeest is out, he's blindfolded and strapped in a yoke. These measures serve to restrain him when he regains consciousness, so he won't thrash around wildly and hurt the men or himself. To keep tabs on the herd, Estes needs to be able to identify individual animals from a distance. To do this, he has perfected a method of branding them with large numerals. Since the animal is unconscious, he doesn't feel this, and the application of an ointment helps the healing. More detailed identification of the animal is included on a tag which is fastened to the ear. And in case he falls prey to lions, the number is also scratched on his horns. To quickly spot one of his study animals among the thousands of wildebeest roaming the crater, Estes simply clips the hair from the end of its tail. None the worse for his experience, this bobtail wildebeest will now help man preserve the wildlife of Ngora Ngora crater. Across the face of the earth, we have this same problem of man's encroachment upon the wild kingdom. Obviously, the needs of man must be met. But as man's needs require more and ever more land, how can we preserve some portion of the wild kingdom? Well, I think you better get down. All right. I believe that one of the most promising answers yet suggested lies in the program being pursued at Ngora Ngora, a long-range plan to reconcile and harmonize the varied interests of wildlife, of the Maasai, and of general conservation. Clearly, the protection of the wild kingdom depends upon advanced planning. On this return trip to East Africa, I was struck by the accelerating pace at which the land is being urbanized and industrialized. Where once wild animals roamed the land and men lived in civilized pockets, now it is the animals that are being forced to live in pockets. These are the national parks and preserves. Fortunately, the people of Africa appreciate the worth of this treasure that is theirs, and indeed proclaim East Africa the stronghold of the wild. I trust it will remain so, and that men will preserve this precious heritage so that future generations may enjoy unspoiled, in places such as the Crater of Gold, the rich treasures of the wild kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Like what you saw? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more exclusive content. And visit our website at wildkingdom.com.